Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be talking about something that affects us all, and that is aging. But instead of looking at, the downsides of getting older, we're going to be talking about how to make those later years healthier and more active. And to do that, we're going to be diving into Chapter 16 of a book on aging athletes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff. And one of the things that really struck me right off the bat is how they point out that physical inactivity is the fourth leading risk factor for death worldwide. It's even ahead of obesity.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy,
I
right?
had no idea.
I know, it's a pretty eye-opening statistic.
It is, yeah. It really makes you stop and think about how important just moving your body is, not just for fitness, but for your health and how long you live.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a wake-up call for all of us. So let's get into it. This chapter lays out a pretty clear problem. We're seeing this rise in chronic diseases all over the world.
Right.
And that puts a huge strain on healthcare systems.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest culprits, lack of physical activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the chapter says 9% of deaths globally are linked to just not being active enough.
9%.
It's a big problem.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot bigger than I think a lot of people realize.
I think so, too.
But here's the good news. This chapter presents exercise as this really powerful solution. And it's something that you can start at any age. It's never too late.
That's encouraging.
Right.
Yeah,
No
definitely.
matter what your fitness level is.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like about this chapter. They don't just focus on the problem. They offer solutions.
Yeah.
And they highlight 4 key benefits of exercise for older adults.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, the first one is chronic disease prevention and risk reduction. So if you're physically active on a regular basis, you can actually lower your risk of developing things like type 2 diabetes,
Okay.
heart disease, certain types of cancer, even cognitive decline like dementia.
Wow. So it's not just about living longer. It's about the quality of those extra years.
Exactly.
That's what really stood out to me.
Yeah, the chapter talks about these functional benefits too.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Tell me more about those.
Okay, so as we get older, being able to just do everyday things, basic stuff becomes even more important.
Right.
And exercise helps with that.
Okay.
It improves your strength, your balance, your flexibility.
So what kind of things are we talking about?
So think about carrying groceries up the stairs,
Okay.
playing with your grandkids, even just getting up off the couch.
All those things that we take for granted sometimes.
Exactly.
Until we can't do them anymore.
Right. And exercise helps you maintain your independence so you can keep doing all those things you love.
It's about really living life to the fullest.
Exactly.
And then there are the mental and emotional benefits too. This chapter really emphasizes the psychological and well-being aspects.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I thought was really fascinating.
Yeah. Exercise is a proven mood booster. And that's especially important as we get older. Studies have shown that it can reduce anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
Improve your sleep quality, even enhance your cognitive function.
Wow.
So you're looking at a sharper mind and a more positive outlook on life.
It's like exercise is a magic pill.
It kind of is.
Right. So we've got the physical benefits, we got the mental benefits. But what about the social aspect? I feel like a lot of people overlook that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's huge. Exercise can actually be a really great way to combat loneliness and isolation, especially if you do it in a group setting.
Okay.
Just think about joining a walking group or a dance class or even a Tai Chi class.
Right.
You're working out and you're connecting with other people at the same time.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It's building a sense of community.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the why, all the amazing benefits of exercise for aging well. But let's dive into the how, the actual science behind it all.
Okay.
So what's going on in our bodies when we exercise that makes such a big difference as we get older?
Well, one of the key things this chapter talks about is that exercise helps preserve muscle mass and strength.
Okay.
And that's crucial for preventing falls and staying independent as we age.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The chapter also gets really specific about the benefits of aerobic training,
Oh, yeah.
like brisk walking, swimming, cycling,
Mm-hmm.
and the benefits are pretty impressive.
They really are.
So tell me what happens when we do those kinds of activities.
Well, aerobic exercise has a really big impact on your cardiovascular health.
Okay.
It helps lower blood pressure, improve cholesterol levels, strengthen your heart muscle.
So it's really protecting your heart in the long run,
Exactly.
not just about feeling good in the moment.
Right. It's about long-term health.
Now, what about strength training? What does the chapter say about that?
Strength training is really important for maintaining bone density
Okay.
and reducing the risk of fractures,
Hmm.
which is super important as we get older.
Because we naturally lose bone density as we age.
Right, exactly.
One of the things that I found really fascinating in this chapter was a study that showed that exercise can actually increase your peak exercise capacity.
Wow.
Yeah. So that means more energy and stamina for all the things you love to do, even as you get older.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
It really challenges that idea that as we age, it's all downhill.
Right, like aging has to be this decline.
Yeah, it's like our bodies can still adapt and get stronger even later in life.
That's so encouraging. So now that we understand the science a little better, let's talk about some practical guidelines and recommendations. What kind of advice does this chapter offer for older adults who want to get more active?
Well, they talk about the World Health Organization's physical activity guidelines.
Okay.
And they're actually pretty straightforward. They suggest at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity each week.
150 minutes?
Yes.
And what does moderate intensity mean?
It means you can still hold a conversation while you're exercising.
Okay, so you're not completely out of breath.
Right.
You're working hard, but you still talk.
Exactly.
Okay.
They also recommend strength training at least twice a week, working all the major muscle groups.
Got it. I was really glad to see that they emphasize that even small increases in activity can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to become a marathon runner overnight.
Nope.
Right.
Just start with something you enjoy and that you can stick with, even if it's just a 10-minute walk a few times a week.
Yeah, I think that's a good point for people to remember.
Yeah, just starting somewhere is the most important thing.
And I love that they provide examples of activities.
Yes.
Like brisk walking, swimming, dancing, gardening, even Tai Chi.
There's really something for everyone.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the gym. You can find something that you enjoy and that fits into your life.
Exactly.
But, we have to acknowledge that starting and sticking to an exercise routine can be tough.
Yeah.
Especially as we age.
Yeah, definitely.
There are a lot of barriers that people face.
Yeah.
And this chapter actually addresses some of the mental barriers.
It does. It talks about a study that explored how older individuals feel about exercise.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of the participants felt limited by physical limitations.
Okay.
Or they had a lot of competing priorities.
Right, like life gets in the way.
Exactly.
And some people even had misconceptions about exercise.
Yeah, like they thought it was harmful for older adults.
Oh, wow.
Or that it was unnecessary.
That's so interesting. It sounds like there's a real need for education and awareness about how beneficial and safe exercise can be as we get older.
Absolutely. We need to challenge those misconceptions
Yeah.
and provide people with evidence-based information.
Right, because the truth is, exercise can actually help address a lot of those physical limitations.
Exactly.
So how do we overcome those mental hurdles? Like, how do we get ourselves moving?
Well, the chapter emphasizes starting small
Okay.
and gradually increasing the intensity and duration of your workouts as you get more comfortable.
That makes sense.
And finding an activity that you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, that's so important.
That makes all the difference.
If you don't like it, you're not going to do it.
Exactly.
Speaking of things that make a difference, what about social support? I feel like that plays a big role too.
Oh, huge. Huge role.
Yeah.
Group activities can provide so much motivation and support. It's like having a built-in cheering section.
Yeah. And you're more likely to stick with it if you're doing it with other people.
Absolutely.
It's more fun that way too.
It is.
And those shared experiences can lead to some great friendships.
Oh, for sure.
So if you're looking to get more active, consider joining a walking group or a fitness class,
Good idea.
or even just finding a workout buddy. It can make a huge difference.
I agree. Having that support system is really key.
And one thing that really stood out to me in this chapter was how it talked about the impact of exercise on specific conditions.
Oh, yeah.
And it really highlighted the power of exercise as both a preventative and a therapeutic tool.
It is amazing how physical activity can affect things like heart disease, diabetes, and even cognitive decline.
It is. So let's start with heart health. What does this chapter have to say about the connection between exercise and cardiovascular health?
Well, it really emphasizes the role of aerobic training.
Okay.
It helps lower blood pressure, improves your cholesterol levels, and strengthens your heart muscle.
So it's all about protecting your heart for the long haul,
Exactly.
not just feeling good in the moment.
Right. It's about long-term health.
And what about diabetes? I know that's a major concern for a lot of older adults.
It is. It's a growing epidemic.
Yeah.
And the chapter really highlights how important exercise is for both preventing and managing type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
So regular physical activity improves your insulin sensitivity, which basically means your body can use glucose more effectively.
Yeah.
And that can help prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes.
So it's like a natural way to help manage your blood sugar.
Exactly.
And what about cognitive decline and conditions like Alzheimer's disease? Can exercise really have an impact on our brain health?
The research is really starting to point in that direction. The chapter talks about studies showing that regular physical activity improves blood flow to the brain. It can even stimulate the growth of new brain cells.
Wow.
And enhance cognitive function.
It's like exercise is giving your brain a workout, too.
Yeah, it's like cross-training for your brain.
I love that. So as we're talking about all these amazing benefits, I'm thinking about all the reasons that people give for not exercising.
Right.
Like time constraints or physical limitations, or just not enjoying it.
Yeah, those are all valid concerns.
They are, but it seems like the potential benefits outweigh those challenges.
They do. And remember, even small amounts of activity can make a difference.
That's a good point.
You don't have to do it all at once.
Right. It's about finding ways to incorporate more movement into your daily life.
Exactly.
Even if it's just taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or walking around the block a couple times a day.
Every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts.
And as we talked about before, finding activities you enjoy and having a support system can make a big difference in staying motivated and consistent.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive so far.
Right.
We've talked about the problem of physical inactivity, the incredible benefits of exercise for healthy aging, the science behind those benefits, the WHO guidelines, and even strategies for overcoming mental barriers, and finding the right types of activities for you. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to move a little more.
Me too. It's a lot to take in, but it's all really good information.
It is. I think the key takeaway from this chapter is that exercise isn't just about physical health. It's about overall well-being, vitality, and living life to the fullest no matter your age. That is beautifully said. I love that. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought. We've talked about the World Health Organization's recommendations for physical activity, but let's get even more specific. What's one change you can make today to incorporate more movement into your life? It could be small, like taking a 15-minute walk during your lunch break, or bigger, like signing up for that dance class you've always wanted to try. Whatever it is, make a commitment to yourself to get moving and start experiencing the amazing benefits of exercise.
That's a great challenge.
I think so, too.
And it actually reminds me of one of the studies mentioned in the chapter about how older adults view exercise.
Oh, yeah. What did they find?
A lot of the participants in that study believed that exercise was either unnecessary or even risky for older adults.
Interesting.
They were worried about getting injured or making existing health problems worse.
That's a shame. It seems like there's a real need for more education about how safe and beneficial exercise can be.
Absolutely. And that's where doctors, fitness professionals, and even family members can play a big role.
Yeah, we all have a part to play.
Right. We need to challenge those misconceptions and give people solid information about the positive impact exercise can have.
I love that. Empowering older adults to take charge of their health and well-being through movement.
Exactly. And, this ties back to something else the chapter emphasized, the importance of personalized exercise plans.
Oh, yeah?
Just like a doctor prescribes specific medications for your needs, exercise programs should be tailored to each individual.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right, taking into account their physical abilities, their health conditions, and their goals.
So one size fits all doesn't work.
Especially for older adults.
Right.
That's where working with a qualified fitness professional can be so valuable.
Yeah, they can help you figure out what's right for you.
Exactly. They can assess your needs, design a safe and effective program, and provide ongoing support and motivation.
So it's about finding the right resources and support to make exercise a sustainable part of your life.
Absolutely. And remember, exercise doesn't have to be about spending hours at the gym or doing these intense workouts. It can be as simple as finding activities you enjoy and weaving them into your daily routine.
I'm all about finding the fun in fitness.
Me too. Whether it's dancing or gardening or swimming or taking a brisk walk in nature, there are so many ways to get moving and experience those benefits.
I think that's a great message to end on. Exercise is like a prescription for healthy aging. It's a powerful way to prevent chronic diseases, stay independent, boost your mood, sharpen your mind, and connect with others. And the best part is, it's never too late to start.
Beautifully put. It's not just about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years.
That's a great way to put it. We hope this deep dive has inspired you to think about how you can add a little more movement to your life. Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure exploring this topic with you. And to our listeners, stay curious, keep moving, and enjoy the journey of healthy aging.
It is, yeah, it's huge, like a built-in
Right.
support system, you know? Yeah. And you're more likely to stick with it if you have other people doing it with you.
Absolutely. It's more fun, too.
Way more fun.
And, all that time you spend together can lead to some great friendships.
I think so, too. So if you're thinking about getting more active, consider joining a walking group or a fitness class, or maybe even just find a workout buddy.
That's a great idea.
It can really make a big difference, I think.
It can, having that accountability and just someone to do it with.
You know, one thing that stood out to me in this chapter was how they broke down the impact of exercise on specific conditions.
Oh, yeah.
It really highlighted the power of exercise as both a preventative and therapeutic tool.
Yeah, like how it can help with heart disease and diabetes and cognitive decline.
It's fascinating stuff. So let's start with heart health. What does this chapter have to say about the connection between exercise and cardiovascular health?
Well, they emphasize the role of aerobic training.
Okay.
Things like brisk walking, swimming, cycling. They can help lower blood pressure, improve cholesterol levels, and strengthen the heart muscle.
So it's all about protecting your heart in the long run.
Exactly. Not just about feeling good in the moment, but about making sure your heart is healthy for years to come.
What about diabetes? I know that's a major concern for a lot of older adults.
It is, yeah, it's a growing problem. And the chapter really highlights how important exercise is for both preventing and managing type 2 diabetes.
I see.
So regular physical activity can improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body can use glucose more effectively,
Okay.
which can help prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes.
So it's a natural way to manage blood sugar.
Exactly.
What about cognitive decline? Conditions like Alzheimer's disease. Can exercise really have an impact on brain health?
There's more and more research coming out that suggests it can.
Really?
Yeah, the chapter talks about studies that show regular physical activity can improve blood flow to the brain. And it can even stimulate the growth of new brain cells
Wow.
and enhance cognitive function.
It's like exercise is giving your brain a workout too.
It is, yeah. It's like cross-training for your brain.
I love that. As we're talking about all these incredible benefits, I can't help but think about all the reasons that people give for not exercising.
Right.
Things like time constraints, physical limitations, not enjoying exercise.
I get it. Those are all very real concerns.
They are. But it seems like the potential benefits outweigh those challenges.
They do. And, even small amounts of activity can make a difference.
That's a really good point.
You don't have to go from 0 to 60 right away.
So it's about finding ways to just incorporate more movement into your daily life.
Exactly, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator or walking around the block a couple of times a day.
Right. Every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts. And, like we were talking about earlier, having a support system and finding activities you enjoy can make a big difference in terms of staying motivated and consistent.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive so far. We've talked about the problem of physical inactivity, the amazing benefits of exercise for healthy aging, the science behind those benefits, the WHO guidelines, and even some strategies for overcoming those mental barriers and finding activities that you actually enjoy. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired to move a little more.
Me too. It's hard not to be after talking about all this.
Right.
I think the big takeaway from this chapter is that exercise isn't just about physical health. It's about well-being, vitality, and living your life to the fullest no matter how old you are.
That is beautifully said. I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm going to leave our listeners with a final thought. We've talked about the World Health Organization's recommendations for physical activity, but let's get even more specific. What's one change you can make today to incorporate more movement into your life? It could be small, like taking a 15-minute walk during your lunch break. Or it could be bigger, like signing up for that dance class you've always wanted to try. Whatever it is, make a commitment to yourself to get moving and start experiencing all those amazing benefits of exercise.
Yeah, that's a great challenge. And it makes me think about one of the studies in the chapter about how older adults see exercise.
Oh, right. What was that about again?
Well, a lot of the folks in the study thought that exercise wasn't really needed for older people or could even be dangerous. They were worried about hurting themselves or making their health problems worse.
It's a shame that there are all these misconceptions floating around out there about exercise and aging.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a need for better education about just how safe and beneficial it can be.
So what can we do about that?
Well, I think doctors, fitness professionals, even just family members can play a big role.
Okay.
We all need to step up and challenge those misconceptions and give people good evidence-based information.
Yeah, because if people are afraid to exercise, they're missing out on all those amazing benefits.
Exactly. And that's why this chapter stresses the importance of personalized exercise plans.
Oh, right. So it's not one size fits all.
Nope. Just like a doctor wouldn't prescribe the same medication for everyone.
Makes sense.
Exercise programs should be tailored to each individual.
So, like, what factors would they consider?
Well, things like their physical abilities, any health conditions they have, and their goals.
Right, because everyone's different.
Exactly. And that's why working with a qualified fitness professional can be so helpful. They can really assess your needs and design a program that's safe and effective for you.
So it's about finding the right resources and support
Yeah.
to make exercise something that you can stick with.
Yeah, make it a sustainable part of your life.
I love that. And I love how this chapter reminds us that exercise doesn't have to mean spending hours at the gym or doing crazy intense workouts.
Right. It can be something as simple as finding activities you enjoy and just working them into your routine.
Like taking the dog for a walk.
Exactly, or dancing around your living room.
I'm all about finding the fun in fitness.
Me too, and there's so many ways to do it.
Well, I think the message from this deep dive is loud and clear. Exercise is a powerful tool for healthy aging. It helps prevent chronic diseases. It keeps you independent. It boosts your mood, sharpens your mind, and helps you connect with others. And the best part is, it's never too late to start.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of exercise and aging. And we hope it's inspired you to think about how you can add a little more movement to your life. Thanks for joining us.
And to our listeners, stay curious, keep moving, and enjoy the journey of healthy aging.